Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Jackie in Ohio. She writes, I have been married to my husband for 30 years. He earns a six-figure salary, and I've been a stay-at-home mom. He wanted to manage our finances because working together stressed him out, and he didn't want to argue. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. He wasn't a brat. I thought we lived a good life, but on a recent vacation, I overheard him checking account balances on our credit cards and became concerned. So I started quietly researching. I discovered he was tearing up financial documents and throwing them away so I couldn't see them. He has depleted 95% of a job buyout and taken loans on what little retirement savings he had, less than $100K. He refinanced our homes multiple times, so we still owe 2/3 of our mortgage after paying on it for 20 years. He also has over $130,000 in debt outside of the mortgage. I now realize we've been living paycheck to paycheck on a six-figure salary just to avoid confrontation. I'm going to stop you there, Jackie. You haven't. You have been living paycheck to paycheck because your husband's got something else going on. There's some significant deceit, whether it's an addiction, it's somebody else he's in love with, or he's got other pet projects he's trying to work through. This is not just to avoid confrontation. This is because he has a different life. When we should be living and enjoying retirement together. I now work full-time, and he does contract work. There are so many things wrong here. How do we move forward?
Whew. So they're in their 50s, 60s. There's been a long pattern where he's, quote, handled the money, and by handled, I mean mishandled. They're deeply in debt, and she's trying to go, like, how do I even begin to address this?
Yeah. I'm going to assume here, George, that there's no abuse, okay? There's no emotional abuse. There's no physical abuse, okay? If there is, that, of course, changes the dynamic. With that said, both people are at fault for here. One, the husband saying, no, I'm just going to do it. I don't want to argue with you. And two, her going, okay. And then 30 years later, 20 years later, acting surprised. Oh my gosh, it's all gone sideways and bad, right?
I would be shocked if this marriage has been great this whole time.
I assure you it has not. And
like this strategy never works to be like, well, let me just handle it so we don't fight about it. And somehow you're going to have a great marriage with that lack of communication? with no financial infidelity? Like this is exactly why we tell people combine bank accounts and have full communication over what's going on and full transparency about what's going on in the finances. Right. Even if you're not the nerd, you don't want to have to be the one whittling the budget down. John needs to know what's happening in their budget.
Correct. And so this has to be called out for what it is. He has been lying and cheating on you for 30 years. Anything less than that bold of a statement is watering it down and patting you on the head and saying, oh, sweetie, you'll be fine. Because, honey, you are not fine. This is terrible. The numbers you just laid out here are terrifying. He has been lying and cheating on you for 30 years. And you have played your part by looking the other way and never asking a question because vacation time just showed up and the presents just showed up and the bills just magically got whatever. There's no way this has happened that you haven't had some inkling that things were off. Things were off. Now, again, outside of if he's abusive, emotionally abusive, this has been unsafe. It's not a matter of you turning at your head. It's a matter of you laying low so you don't get your head knocked off. Okay, totally different situation. But if you both have just been puttering along, then you both have to be part of the ownership here. Your husband's going to have to get down on both knees and say, I'm sorry. I have lied to you. I have stolen from our future. I have cheated you. Will you still keep me around? And you're going to have to say, I'm sorry that I let this thing go on for 30 freaking years. Anything short of that, George, is they're playing patty cake. They're playing clean up, and there's not going to be any way to get out of this thing. Their marriage isn't going to survive it. Their finances sure aren't going to survive it. They are broke. Scary broke for their age.
Yeah, that's step one. If and when you get to that point where you've had that conversation, the come to Jesus meeting, and it goes well, then we can start attacking the debt and pay down this $130,000 with a six-figure salary. You should be able to do that in 2 to 3 years if you're not doing anything else.
Oh, there's no six-figure salary anymore. He got bought out, and then he blew it. So now she works full-time.
And he does contract
work. Contract work's over. Now he's going to work 3 jobs. That's right. He's going to work 3 jobs And
we need to get back to a six-figure salary if we're going to have any hope of cleaning this up and retiring one day. Because he also depleted the retirement account down to almost nothing. So you're going to have to rebuild that. And so retirement it's not even in your vocabulary for the next decade. You guys are going to be working. And I hope one day you get the mortgage paid off and you can retire and this marriage can be saved. But it starts with those hard conversations.
Yeah, and this might be a situation where you got to sell your house and you got to downsize and you got to go to an apartment that's of much less value. I mean, it costs a lot less money to run and on a monthly basis because y'all are in a mess. Mm-hmm. I would reach out to one of our Ramsey financial coaches and talk through the particulars here, Jackie, but this is a scary, scary mess. And here's the deal. George, you and I talk about this privately. You can, when you're facing a scary mess, you can say that is really scary and do what you've done for this person, Jackie's done for 30 years and just look the other way. Or you can stare a scary mess in the face and turn all the lights on and say, we're going after it. We're going to figure this thing out. Right?
Get the gloves on. We're going to work.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
This makes my stomach sink.
Yep. Don't let that be you guys. Yeah. Address the stuff. Never brush it under the rug to avoid conflict. That never works out.
If you are married to someone and they say, don't worry, I'll just take care of it, do not accept that. And if you're a person of integrity, and I'll go this far, if you're a quote unquote, I'm the head of the household, I'm the man around here, and you're so much of a coward that you won't sit down with your wife and say, this is how our money works, this is where we put our bills, and you don't bring somebody in on it, shame on you. This is both of you doing this together. Enough is enough, man.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.